Welcome back to Megadads on YouTube. This is where gamer life meets real life. My name is Adam, and it's Thursday, which means it's time for another episode of Adam's Top 50. I am counting down my 50 favorite video games of all time, and today's game is very cool. It comes from one of my favorite video game franchises of all time, a series that's been around the block. It's had some peaks, it's had some valleys, it's back on top, and today we're going to be spotlighting one of the best entries in that franchise. But before we do, let's get down to business. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel right here, like this video so that I can continue counting down, and ring the bell for notifications so that you're notified whenever this video or any of our amazing videos is dropped on the feed. And we are dropping new videos all the time right here on youtube.com/megadads. Okay, the business is out of the way. It's time to play. This is another episode of Adam's Top 50. You know, you might not know it looking at our list so far, but I'm actually a huge fan of horror video games. Even though everything that's been on the list so far has been party games, sports games, racing games, things of that ilk, I'm a huge fan of getting the heebie-jeebies in my video games. And today's game comes from a franchise that is probably the most popular horror franchise in video game history. I'm of course talking about Resident Evil. I remember playing the very first Resident Evil on my PlayStation 1 when it came out and just being blown away and having heck of a freak out, spilling chocolate milk on myself, because that was a long time ago when I was a wee lad. Not that I don't still drink chocolate milk, because it's delicious, but that's not the point. Resident Evil is a horror franchise that's gone through so many changes over the years, and today's game on Adam's Top 50 is really the first time that Capcom took Resident Evil into a new direction. That's right, today's game is Resident Evil 4. By the time Resident Evil 4 released, we were all experiencing something of a zombie fatigue. Resident Evil really put zombies back on the pop culture map, and they had a few really great installments, but you know, the creativity in those games was beginning to wane by the time we got to Resident Evil Code Veronica. They were all excellent games, but the ideas were running thin. So when Resident Evil 4 was shown off, we were all blown away by the fact that this was taking us away from the traditionals. Resident Evil was traditionally known for a grueling escape experience where you were scavenging for ammunition and health in order to just scrape by and escape by the skin of your teeth. But Resident Evil 4 flipped the tables. Leon was something of an action hero now with improved controls, more of a third-person action mechanic, and it played more like an arcadey shoot-'em-up. The thrills and scares were still there, absolutely, by way of the creepy villagers, and of course, who can forget the chainsaw-wielding madman with the burlap sack over his head. Resident Evil 4 brought scares back to the franchise because it introduced mystery once again. We all knew where the zombies came from. We all knew about the Umbrella Corporation. But now with Resident Evil 4, there was mystery. And of course, nothing scarier than the unknown. Resident Evil 4 put us back on our heels once again because we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what was coming after us, what was lurking in the dark. From the dingy, dusty, dilapidated village all the way to a giant, towering stone castle, Resident Evil 4 is a trip. You will guide Leon on his quest to rescue the president's daughter, find out just what the f*** is happening with this crazy cult in the village, and of course you have to escape before everything blows up, because we all know every good Resident Evil game ends with a countdown. Resident Evil 4 is an iconic mainstay in this series, and of course that's why it's my number 43 favorite video game of all time. Thank you so much for joining me for yet another episode of Adam's Top 50. I want to hear what you have to say. What's your favorite Resident Evil entry? Who's your favorite Resident Evil monster, character? Let us know. Let's start a discussion all about Resident Evil because that franchise is fantastic. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we will see you back here next Thursday for another episode of Adam's Top 50.